So next up on the show court, it's a women's doubles match once again. It's Meiliana Jauhari along with G.Polii taking on Kilic and Yigit of Turkey. The number 8 seeds will be favourites to come through here against a pairing that's 108th in the ranking. It was a very one-sided encounter for the world number ones just now, and you'd expect, given those rankings, that it could be fairly one-sided again here.
Yes, indeed, because this pair from Turkey, they're absolute youngsters, 17 and 18 years of age. They've only played one senior tournament this year. They've played several junior tournaments and done very well, actually. They've won the Spanish Junior International event and their own home international event in Turkey. So, you know, they've been playing junior badminton. This is a big, big step up, and to play against a pair that's the number 8 seeds in G.Polii and Meiliana Jauhari of Indonesia. It really is a big, big step up. In fact, the Indonesians, there's G.Polii, 23 years of age, although she's going to turn 24 in 2 days' time. Her birthday coming up during these World
Well, she'll be hoping she's still in the tournament.
Absolutely.
For that birthday. So it's going to be a great experience for the Turkish pair.
I have to say, just before this match gets underway, it's a bit disappointing that both pairs appear to be wearing the same coloured kit. I thought it was standard practice. Maybe it's only from the latter stages of tournaments that opponents in the doubles had to, well, and in the singles as well, had to wear different coloured clothing. Well, as you can see, they're number 8 in the world. They were actually 7 last week, so they're down 1 place. G.Polii and Meiliana Jauhari. But that translates into 8 individual tournaments. You can see 9 losses this year because they lost in the Sudirman Cup as well, but the 8 individual tournaments, 3 semi-final appearances, including the Swiss Grand Prix, India Super Series, and Malaysia Grand Prix Gold as well. Only formed their partnership last year, did the Indonesians, and therefore their ranking wasn't high enough to play and qualify for the World Championships, so they decided not to play with their previous partners, but to miss the World Championships in Paris a year ago. Brave decision. Well, their opponents, as I say, from Turkey, real youngsters. Kilic, 18 years of age. Her partner, Yigit, is a year younger, 17. 108 in the world ranking. They are up 1 place. But the interesting thing to me is that they've only got 6 tournaments towards that world ranking over the last 12 months. And as you can see, I said just 1 previous tournament this year. That was in Estonia, and they lost in the first round. So their win-loss record for the year, played 1 match and lost 1 match. This a second round encounter, of course. G.Polii and Meiliana Jauhari had a bye in the first round, and Richard, I think it was a terrific match. I don't know whether you saw it at all. Was it a Russian combination?
Yeah, they took on Anastasia Chevakova and Maria Korobeinikova, and they came through in 3 games. They were 21-17 losses in the first game, as we see Laurens Bester, and of course they're Hakan Fosto, the service judge. Yeah, 21-17, they lost the first game, but they hit back and won 21-16, 21-15 in the next 2 games. And just shows the character they got even at that age. So that win-loss ratio, not quite right, because of course we should have the one that they did win yesterday in these World Championships. But to make it a second victory, I think, well, it's asking a lot out of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, On my right, Neslihan Kilic and Neslihan Yigit, Turkey. And on my left, M.Jauhari and G.Polii, Indonesia. G.Polii to serve to Nelson Kilic, level play. One love.
That's a lovely drop shot from Greysia
Love.
Polii. Twice been in the last 16 of World Championships. As I say, didn't play last year. Oh, that's good defence. Yeah, well played by the youngsters. Good rally.
1, 2.
Yeah. There's a big height difference between them there, and there's a angled smash, and that'll settle the nerves a little.
Service over. 3, 1. Service over. 2, 3. Service over. 4, 2.
Oh, that's a lovely shot, isn't it? Goodness me,
6,
looks so relaxed as she hit that cross court. Jauhari finding the gap, finding the angle.
It's important they don't get down on themselves too much here. Yigit and Meiliana, Kilic as well, because every point, it's the same stories for the Swedes against Wang and Wu. They just got to treat each point as a victory and set themselves some goals of trying to get as many points on the board as they can.
Absolutely, and you, as a coach, you'd be saying try and learn from the way that the Swedish players approached that last match, but of course they won't have seen it because they will have been out at the back of the Wembley Arena here on the practice courts and wouldn't have been watching. They would have been preparing for this encounter, but it was a very good example, I thought, the Swedish players, on how to approach a match which you really aren't expected to win, and not only are you not expected to win, but you know that there's a bit of a gulf in the capabilities between your own play and your opponents.
That's a nice rally. Oh, just out.
9, 3. Eight, 3. Service over. 4, 8. Service over, 11-5 interval.
So there's the interval in Jauhari and Polii very comfortably ahead here, the Indonesian pair.
Enakin aja, cuma tinggal dijaga udah poinnya gitu. Dijaga jangan sampai kamu lengah kendor aja. Ya gampang buang poinnya jangan. Kalau udah gitu ntar kamu yang ini sendiri. Jangan nafsu buru-buru nggak usah. Cuma menekannya kadang-kadang kalau lagi konsisten jangan setengah hati ya tekan kamu. Ya, tadi cuma nggak kencang.
It's interesting to me, Richard, the way that a year ago the Indonesians looked ahead to the Olympics 2012 and they decided that some of their women's doubles pairings perhaps weren't medal chances and therefore they swapped all their pairings around. We know the Chinese did it last year and an awful lot of experimenting. Same with the Koreans, you know, experimenting which pair was, you know, or players paired together was going to make the most, the best chance for the country to actually gain medals. And Indonesia doing exactly the same thing. As, of course, Greysia played for many years with Yonex and teamed up with M.Jauhari. M.Jauhari used to play with Shindi Puspa Irawati, who reached the last 16 of the World Championships in 2009. So both these Indonesian players, playing with different partners, got through to last 16 of World Championships, but of course, as a pair here, they're seeded to go better than that, seeded to go to a quarter-final, which suggests that the mixing up of the pairs was a very good thing by the Indonesian team.
You're lucky to meet Shinta Mulyasari and Meiliana, the Singapore pair, in the next round. That would be actually quite a good matchup, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would indeed, because the Singapore pair last year had an incredible 2 weeks. They won the Indian, which is now a Super Series event, but it was a Grand Prix Gold event a year ago, and have followed it up a week later by winning the Singapore Super Series event. So, first Singapore players for 20 years to win a title in their home international. And they are a very good pair, and you and I watched them at the Commonwealth Games, silver medalists at the Commonwealth Games last year. It will make a good matchup.
Surprising they didn't win the gold, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
Of course, the home advantage worked in the favour of Ashwina Ponappa and Juala Gutta.
Out. Service over. 15-8.
Just explain, Jill. I mean, some might be wondering, and of course they've done themselves justice with the fact that they won in the first round here, this young Turkish pair, but how, well, ranking of 108 and only having played one senior tournament this year, have they qualified for the World Championships? Is it a question of nationality or region?
Well, I'm not terribly sure, to be honest, because it may be that the BWF, the Badminton World Federation, just received a number of entries from nations around the world, and there's a certain number of pairs that can go into the women's doubles.
They're wild cards, isn't it? They can throw.
Well, there are wild cards, and I'm not sure whether the BWF have used their wild cards with this pair. It's it may be that just some of the pairs that were ranked above this young Turkish pair weren't entered by the national federations, and the fact that they were, because the higher ranked pairs weren't entered, that they've got in.
Right.
Oh, look at that. Super. Awareness of the gap.
17.
Yep, lovely touch from G.Polii. Seeing the space there, exploiting it, finding the angle. Yeah, it definitely is going to be Shinta Mulyasari and Yale they play, having already beaten
18.
the Wangs, Iris and Reina in straight games on one of the adjacent courts just recently. And it won't be long, it seems, to Jauhari and G.Polii are there as well.
Yes, good change of pace.
19-8. Game point.
So it hasn't taken long, has it? Just 8 minutes so far this match has lasted, and it's game points.
Game.
So 21-8.
First game won by Meiliana, M.Jauhari and G.Polii, 21-8.
You know, we've seen some good encounters. You know, Tina Baum was given a good run, wasn't she, earlier in the day by Chansika. And, you know, even the English pair of Clark and Language trying to push the world #3 pair from Korea. But the last 2 games, we've just seen that, you know, a big golfing class, and there's very little that the opposition pair can do to stop the higher ranks.
Yes, I think probably of all 5 disciplines, it's the women's doubles where there's the biggest discrepancy in level of play between the very top players and the lower ranked players within this tournament. You know, we saw yesterday in men's singles the world #5 Chen Long losing out to a player, was he 40 in the world, Kevin Gordon?
Yeah, certainly wasn't inside the top 40, yeah.
No, so, you know, the level, even though the ranking may suggest a big difference in standard, in the other 4 disciplines, I think the level between the top players in the draw and the top seeds and everybody else in the draw is very small. Whereas I think in the women's doubles, there's quite a difference between the top women's doubles players and some of the others.
But it's very rare you see a matchup like this where you've got a pair that have hardly ever played a senior event, never mind a big event, against a pair that, you know, have been contesting Super Series and they're used to playing the top 10 players in the world, or top 10 pairings, I should say, in the world.
Yeah.
Second game. Level. Play. 1 love.
Just obviously with this being one-sided, it's worth pointing out the world #1's men's double pair are being taken to a 3rd game in their first matchup against Ivanov and Sovanov of Russia, which is a big shock.
Huge surprise.
I mean, you'd expect them still to go on and win, but it's a big shock that's been taken to 3 games, isn't it, really?
Absolutely.
Service over 2.
Defending champions, 3 times world champions, first ever men's doubles pair to win 3 world titles, and struggling win a first round. I think it emphasises my point about, you know, the standard in the draws. There's more of a discrepancy, I think, in women's doubles than the other 4 disciplines.
Service over 2, 3. Service over 4, 2.
Very popular player on the world tour is Greysia Polii. great experience, though, for the youngsters from Turkey.
Well, the fact that they're able to put off a win, you know, that's going to give them such a huge confidence boost now, as they obviously are going to be taking the step up, and I would have thought in the rest of 2011 and certainly in 2012 be attempting to play a lot more seniors events.
Yeah, and I think they're really focused on trying to do well at the European Junior Championships, World Junior Championships as well. And quite frankly, having seen them play, I didn't see their match yesterday, but they must have played very well against the Russian combination, who incidentally also just youngsters, both of them just 19 years of age. There's an awful lot of very good young players emerging.
It particularly seems to be in the women's side of things as well.
Yeah, and that's very encouraging for world badminton and the promotion of badminton generally, because for far too long people have been saying, you know, oh, well, the Chinese are going to win the women's disciplines, it's more open in the men. But, you know, in all honesty, there are so many very good young players from around the world, India, Thailand, Taipei, you know, players here in Europe, the young Russians, this young pair from Turkey. There's plenty of youngsters that are now sort of saying, okay, well, we're all prepared to step up to the mark. There was a youngster from Spain earlier today, Marin, I think her name is, who beat Yuriko Hiroshi from Japan, who was in the final of the All England Championships just a few months ago. You know, now that's incredible.
She's only 18, isn't she?
She's only 18. It's a very, very healthy situation for world badminton. There's a lot of female players emerging from countries that you wouldn't have thought had a tradition in badminton terms. String's gone in the racket. Yeah.
11.
Warm-up after racket had to be changed.
It's very much a courtesy amongst the badminton players. They all allow opponents just to test out the new racket, a couple of shots.
Service over. 12-3.
Well, they stuck in it, didn't they? Kilic in particular there, defending well, and come out with another point.
Service over. 14-4.
Oh, that's nice. Lovely shot from Kilic. good disguise, good placement, good vision. Yeah.
6-15.
Good shot from her partner this time.
Yeah, maybe they're just relaxing a little now. The game's pretty much up. They can try and play a few shots. They tried one again there, Kilic, didn't she? Tried the same trick.
6. 17-6. Serve 7-17.
Oh, super angle again.
Serve
G.Polii slicing across the feathers of the shuttle, creating extra spin. There it goes.
Yep, very pretty from Polly, and it's 3 points more for victory.
$19-7. Up. Serve 8-18.
Well left. So match points.
20. Match point 8. Game.
Well, that's the end of their World Championship adventure for Kilic and Yigit. And I'm sure these Turkish youngsters will be aiming to be back here for these World Championships in years to come. But for G.Polii and Meiliana Jauhari, a very comfortable route through to the next round.
Greysia, Polii, 21-8, 21-8.
21-8, 21-8 the final score. So a really good matchup for them next in round 3 against the Singapore pair of Shinta Mulia-Sari and Yao-Lei. A very comfortable victory, as it was for the world number ones in the previous match. So that brings a close our coverage here on day 2 of this Yonex BWF World Championships 2011 in the Wembley Arena. All the matches we've seen have been pretty straightforward, all going to the favourites and all going in 2 games. I suppose Tina Baun, a surprise struggle, maybe one of the stories here, and of course the Malaysian pair of Latif and Hoon, Stretch Chia Min Fang and Sheng Mu Lee as well in the men's doubles.
Yes, I think Lindan will have been very happy with his start, so too will Peter Gader. Tina Bauer perhaps isn't such a bad thing to have a hard first round match, but she will know that she's got to be in top form, and that's perhaps just sharpened her up a little bit. And that's probably not a bad thing.
Yeah, so all the #1 seeds, 3 of them that we've seen here today, the mixed doubles, women's doubles, and the women's singles, all the #1 seeds comfortably through to their next round. Lots more to come from Wembley, of course, through the week. We're getting to the last 16 now in some of the disciplines, and some of the second round matches as well that we'll be watching in the men's and women's singles will be very fascinating to watch. But from Morden Frost, from Jill Clark and myself, Richard Kaufman, it's goodbye for now.